Resident Evil 4 Remake has a massive file size. An official alternate reality game for RE4 Remake has surfaced, detailing the events leading up to the game, and a demo that is poised to follow the Capcom Spotlight showcase. We'll get into all that right now. Make sure to clear up some decent space for your hard drives, as we've got confirmation from the Xbox store that Resident Evil 4 Remake will be a whopping 67 gigabytes. Although we only have this number from the Xbox store, we can expect this number to be quite close when compared to the PC version and the PS4 and PS5 version when the game's store page updates for those platforms. For those who plan to purchase the game on the Xbox Series X or S, you are able to preload the game now as of the writing of this video. So, 67 gigabytes, and you're saying that's quite a bit of bits now, are ya? For a Resident Evil game, this is definitely a lot. Let's jog down memory lane and look back at some of the recent Resident Evil games to see how this one compares. Resident Evil 3 Remake's campaign size clocked in at around 23 gigs for the console versions. Resident Evil 2 Remake weighed in at 21 gigs. Now, what about Resident Evil 7? That game entered at 23 gigs, just like RE3 Remake. And finally, the larger and more complex RE Village sits at 30 gigs, and that is the Gold Edition version of the game, containing all of the DLC. So when you put that into perspective, Resident Evil 4 Remake is more than twice the size of RE Village's Complete Edition in just storage requirements alone. Now, does this correlate to Resident Evil 4 Remake being a bigger game in general? Not necessarily, even though I believe Resident Evil 4 Remake will no doubt be the bigger game when it launches. Generally speaking, the larger the game, the more space the game will take up, but that's only a generalization that doesn't fit every game. Take a game like The Last of Us Part 1, for example, a remake for the PS5 of the PS3 game. That game includes its 10 to 12 hour single player campaign and its DLC Left Behind, resulting in The Last of Us Part 1 coming in at around 80 gigabytes. Although many would argue that RE4's campaign is as long or even longer than The Last of Us's campaign and DLC, there is a considerable amount of space reserved for the game's animations, various finishing moves, enemy AI, and industry-leading graphical flourishes that elevate Naughty Dog's linear cinematic games over many others in terms of sheer amount of storage required for the game. Even Call of Duty, although lacking in single-player campaign content, requires upwards of 80 to 100 gigabytes of storage to get all of its intricate multiplayer systems working in unison with the various other elements at play. Getting back on track to Resident Evil 4 Remake, when compared to its siblings that released before it, RE4 Remake will no doubt be a bigger game, both in its campaign completion time and also in the new gameplay elements being added to the game. New elements like knife parries, employing stealth, new weapons and their animations, along with the brand new cutscenes and rendering of all elements and the like, are all just little details that are being added to RE4 for the first time, and although small on paper, add up when taking into account the final size of the game. With the game's developers saying that the game will be on par with the length of the original and even longer due to the increased exploration and new areas added to the campaign, it's quite obvious why this game is going to be bigger than the previous entries in the series. Coupled with the entirely new side quest system being added, Mercenaries mode returning, and hopefully Ada's chapters, this Resident Evil game will undoubtedly be larger than the aforementioned RE titles. Stay tuned to this channel with your bell notifications turned on for more information regarding the file size for other platforms and coverage of the game as we approach the game's release date. As we get closer to the game's release, we just keep hearing more and more of the game. One such new development is a new ARG, or alternate reality game for Resident Evil 4 Remake, that sheds light into the kidnapping of Ashley prior to the events of RE4. This narrative was not touched up on much in the original Resident Evil 4, and this official project by Capcom is there for fans to learn more about the events surrounding Ashley's kidnapping before she finds herself in rural Spain for the events of the main game. This is the text that accompanies the link to the website, with quote, "We need every available body available on this." We are removing every available asset to assist, including all handlers and analysts with digital intel experience. We need you working on this immediately. Whoever did this may want to leave the country, so you'll be assigned to analyze evidence and advise our agents as to their next moves. Hopefully we can figure out what's going on to catch up to her before it's too late. Head to the Secure Agent portal to get started. Agent Green, Secret Service, Northeastern Division, end quote. Fans that are interested in checking out this cool little story should head on over to BabyEagleIsMissing.com. Baby Eagle, as referred to in Resident Evil 4, is a code name for Ashley, in which Leon is tasked with rescuing her and bringing her back to the US. While on the website, players are tasked with piecing together the mystery into her kidnapping by working with special agents in this text-based game. It seems like the game updates itself every day and will include even more backstory and insights into the events leading up to RE4, as after the game went live on Monday, March 6th, the game has updated every day thereafter, with new puzzles to solve and more mysteries to unearth. While going through this game is completely optional and may not give us any knowledge or secrets about what we can perhaps find in the final game, this browser game does at least give us more context into exactly what happened to Ashley when she was kidnapped. That provides more exposition to the events preceding the game. And finally, we have a Capcom Spotlight Showcase that will go live on March 9th at 5:30 p.m. EST, which many believe will shed light as to when we could expect the demo for Resident Evil 4 Remake to go live. Based purely on history with Capcom, Resident Evil Village's maiden demo was released immediately after its showcase in 2021. With that to go by, it could be considered likely that the demo for Resident Evil 4 Remake will release at or immediately after the Capcom Spotlight. As to the details of what the demo will be, it's all speculation, of course, with many people thinking it could be a timed demo like some of the demos in the past. Fingers crossed it isn't timed. Perhaps a demo could take place in the opening Pueblo section, in which Leon encounters the wrath of the villagers, providing a great setting for players to understand the game's controls and systems before the game officially launches. Others have been theorizing that the demo may be a unique experience like the maiden demo for RE Village, in which players had to escape from Castle Dimitrescu. Whatever the demo will end up being, players are quite sure that we will likely hear more about it from the Capcom Spotlight Showcase, of which I recommend you all watch if you can, in order to be perhaps the first to know about the upcoming demo. As always, this is just pure speculation, but if history has told us anything, it is after these Capcom showcases that demos become available for the Resident Evil games, and so this is likely an event that you won't want to miss. Again, the event airs on Thursday, March 9th at 10:30 p.m. GMT or 5:30 p.m. EST or 2:30 p.m. PST if you are in the United States. As always, I will be covering whatever happens at the event, so stay tuned to this channel for more updates regarding Resident Evil 4 Remake. Make sure to watch this video here if you're interested in knowing some of the awesome new features coming to Resident Evil 4 Remake. Also make sure to participate in my deluxe edition giveaway of Resident Evil 4 Remake, as linked in the description and pinned in the comments. Thank you all for the awesome support, and I will see you real soon in the next video. Peace!